Imagine spending countless hours, serious money, building the transmission of your dreams, only to realize that it's not shifting properly. It worked great, and then all of a sudden it stopped working. So what do? Well, that was my nightmare. My custom built that I rebuilt 4L80E worked great, and then all of a sudden it stopped working. It stopped shifting right. What I discovered later will probably make you scream. If you've been following the channel, you know that I built this car to my dream specs, right? I built the twin turbos, I built the 4L80E to handle all that power, and then one day realized it's not shifting right. And all that hard work is for nothing. I mean, with the transmission, I did every imaginable upgrade that I could feel was great. I did an input shaft, I did the high disc clutches in there, and I repainted it all, new stall converter, did all those things that should make this thing work great. And then I ran into issues with it not shifting, so I replaced the solenoids, all the wiring harness, and it still wasn't shifting right. I mean, these transmissions should be nice and crisp. You should feel like, bam, shifting the gear. It should be great. That's what it should feel like. This is a 700 plus horsepower car at the wheels. Of course, I did all the things that I'm supposed to do, like check the fluid, check the filter, replace all the fluids. I even tried putting in a different stall converter. I even had a remote tune done to see if that was an issue with like the transmission from the Holley Terminator X, see if that was the problem. Because who knew, maybe that was wrong. So I had that checked out. That cost me a few $100s, $380 to be precise for a remote tune. And he did make the car run better. The car doesn't smell like E85 every time I fire it up in the garage now. It's not overwhelming. So, you know, that definitely did that, and it sorted out some problems. And he's the one that said, well, hey, you probably need a new transmission because it's not shifting. So what did I do? Well, I bought a brand new B&M. That should fix it, right? So you put that in, you take it for a drive, you're like, oh, I get to go for a drive. Now I can finally start having fun with my car. Only realize it's doing the same thing. And I'm like, what are the odds of a brand new transmission that's been tested on a bench not working right, the same as the other one was? So the good thing about the transmission was that it was here in days, literally days with free shipping. They had a sale going on. I saved some money. It was around $3,600 out the door with tax, which isn't too bad for such a high horsepower motor, transmission, and to have a name that everybody knows like B&M. Everybody knows B&M that is into transmissions and old performance parts. They're a brand that's been around for a long time. They're very reliable. So then I thought, well, maybe the Terminator isn't sending out the signal like it should. So then I had to dive into that, and I had to see, well, what does the Holley Terminator need in order to send the signal to the transmission? Well, it needs a 12-volt power at all times that's separate from the battery source that feeds the Terminator. So you just run a wire straight back to your battery to give it 12 volts all the time. And then after that, then you have a 12-volt accessory power. That's the only two wires that are essential on the Holley Terminator X Max wiring harness for the 4L80. Those are only two wires and a ground or something like that. So I realized that my accessory lead was not working. So I fixed that, right? And I'm not sure how that stopped working. It must have blew a fuse or something like that in there. So then I'm like, okay, that's not working. Let me fix that. Fix that. I got 12 volts at the wire. I got 12 volts there. I checked the harness. Nothing. Still nothing. So then I was like, well, why is it got power to the lead but not to the transmission? Well, I'm sure there's a reason for it. I'm sure there's a reason, but Holley put an inline fuse on that 12-volt source for some reason, even though I put one at the back. And it was in this little like encased thing that looked more like a relay sort of. Didn't know what it was for. Well, that fuse was blown. And the reason the fuse was blown, I believe, was when I replaced the solenoids, I crimped the wires. And when I crimped the wires, it probably shorted out the fuse. So I had to take the pan back off because it wasn't getting a signal for whatever reason. And then I did the ohm test to see if that was working. And then I realized that the wiring harness had been crunched in between the pan and the transmission. Put new butt connectors so the wires were nice and connected again. Put it back in. Still wasn't shifting right. So when I replaced the solenoids in the transmission and the wiring harness and the pressure switch, somehow the wires, because they're just kind of hanging there, I got them caught between the pan and the transmission itself. So it sort of shorted out all those wires, flattened them out, so I had to cut those, splice them back together, and put it all back together, and then fill it back up. But that didn't fix the problem. So, turns out, when those wires of the transmission solenoids shorted out on the pan, they blew that fuse. That's the whole reason why it wasn't shifting. So I believe that the solenoids were bad originally. I replaced the solenoids, but then when I put the pan back up, I shorted it out. So, yeah. So all I really needed to do was get this stupid fuse replaced. I make mistakes. I'm a human being. And let me tell you what, driving it is so much more fun now with the transmission working. It's got 200 miles on it now. I've got to put 500 miles on it before I can sell it. And I am so excited to be moving this project forward now. All I have to do is paint some little trim pieces, paint the little bumper where I kind of scratched it up a little bit. And then the car's done finally. Can you believe that? If you've been following this channel, I really appreciate it. I really never expected to go to so many followers like on TikTok and on YouTube just from building my dream cars. So the fact is that I think a lot of people really want to build their dream cars. And that's what this channel is dedicated to. This channel is dedicated to me building my dream cars, building other people's dream cars, helping people with their cars. You know, those kind of things are fun to me. I love that. I wish that part of my brain was broken sometimes, that I could just drive a car and not want to tinker with it, but that's who I am. I'm okay with that. I'll be doing this until my hands don't work right or my eyes don't work right. That's what I'm going to be doing as a hobby, making money at it, doing other things. So if you like that kind of stuff, this channel's for you. Okay, so I got a little request for the people that follow my channel that actually listen to the whole thing. I am looking to do another build after this one, because this one's almost done. I need some ideas. If you could just comment in the comment section what you think would be a great build for me. Something that you would like to see that you feel somebody could build in a couple months. Maybe like a $5,000 car that you put $5,000, $10,000 into it and you got a great car. Because I feel like you can get a really good car if you do the work yourself for under 10, 15 grand. I think you can have a really, really fun car if you know a little bit, just have a little bit of luck. So I'm thinking about doing that next, because I don't feel like people really want to build twin turbo resto mod Chevelles all the time. But I think a lot of people would love to have a kind of car that is within their range and within their scope. Because I didn't start building this. I would just tinker a little bit with cars. And I feel like that if I had videos like that when I was starting out, that would really move me far ahead in my progression, you know. Man, I tell you, I really wish that I had YouTube when I was in my 20s working on my first Mustang. Gosh, that would have been so incredible. It would have been so incredible to have that wealth of knowledge. If I wanted to learn something, I could look it up. I could see people's previous experiences. Man, thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.